All right, here we are. Welcome back. Another edition of Caskey's Clicker. Excited to be back. Got a special guest today.
I never even got out of my chair.
Yeah. So we have Katie, and I'm going to call her Ollie Good because it's all good to have her here with us.
That's right.
But,
Thank you.
And what I'm excited about is hearing a football fan's perspective that isn't an LSU fan. Number one, I mean you pull for LSU. You're Mississippi State,
I do.
so
I pull for LSU.
you pull for LSU, but you're not. You didn't go to school there. I didn't go
No.
to school there, so this is
You're right.
this is a very unbiased version of Caskey's Clicker today. And but I've asked her to chime in. Now
Ask some dumb questions.
Lloyd's here too. So,
Yeah.
but Lloyd's we had our talk on Saturday night during the.
Yeah, he said, you can only fake it for so long. If you're actually going to watch the game with me, you're going to see a little bit of my purple and gold blood.
That's okay, and it was a good. If it would have been the other way around, honestly, if LSU would have been losing,
Oh, yeah.
I might have left early.
I would have left early,
I'm
too.
not sure. I'm not sure I wanted to be around that, but it was fun being around. If you get a chance next time we do that, get a chance to join us. It was a lot of fun, and but we'll get started here.
I got to get a shirt. I got to get an IT shirt. I
IT shirt.
join
I know.
you.
You know what?
Everyone needs an IT shirt.
The crazy thing is that IT shirt literally came in the mail like an hour before I came up here, so it was
Perfect.
Did
perfect
you get
timing.
it like custom?
No,
Or
it's
they had one already?
straight off of that really large conglomerate that you buy things online from.
Yeah.
Oh, Amazon.
Bezos.
I didn't want to give them any love because they don't sponsor the show.
Amazon.
But you know who does?
Amazon
I'll call them later
sponsor the
today.
show. We are sponsored though by Citizens Bank. They sponsor the Telestrator for us, so I want to thank them. Appreciative of that. Lloyd, I'm ready. I've got LSU's defense up and running, and what we're going to talk about just in general about the LSU defense is kind of go in waves. This isn't game order by any means, but Mekhi Wingo, number 92. Everybody's talking about Mason Smith being out and all the things that comes with losing a guy like that. I thought this guy's really stepped up his game, and as you watch here, he's right here. He's just going to totally annihilate this right guard and throw him off and tackle for loss. So the thing that people are concerned about with Mason Smith is real and not having a guy, but I believe this guy right here has shown that he can take the place of that type of player. So as you're watching games, keep an eye on 92. Here's another look at him right here. All right, this is late in the game too, but as you can see here, he just takes he takes this guy right here and just pushes him aside and sheds him. So when I say shed, he's got him right here, and then watch him just kind of throw him off, and he makes a tackle. So there's a lot of good things happening on the defensive front, even though they've lost a good player in Mason Smith. Now, one of the things that a lot of people were concerned about after watching the game was the second play of the game, put it that way, is that long play action pass. Well, one of the things that teams like Florida that have an aggressive mentality to them is once you get to this midfield area right here, and right now they started at midfield, obviously, with the kickoff return, I believe. Won't get into any special teams today. We're gonna let that dog lie.
Let's not.
But once
We'll
they
get that corrected,
I was
Coach.
told not
yes,
to.
we'll get that. That'll get corrected, and then we'll come back and talk about it. So what I want you guys to look at right here, this is the first play of the game. All right, so this is not the second play. This is actually the first offensive play of the game. They're going to run actually he's a little tighter than that, but they're going to run a run play to the left. And I'm showing, people are going to be like, well, why are you showing this to us? Because I want you to watch the design of the run play. You see how this tight end's coming back over here? This tight end's staying in. The action's going over here. Quarterback opens this way, and then he ends up kind of dropping back like this. That's the first play of the game. Now, the second play of the game kind of looks familiar, but there's a receiver up here now. I get it. Formation's a little different. You're going to end up getting him coming back. What they're going to do here, it's hard to see on this copy, but he's going to run a deep post, and he's going to run an over route. All right, so what? All right.
Right.
And they're going to play action here and drop back. Well, what's going to end up happening is when this guy runs this post, he ends up beating the deep safety, which you'll see once it's over. But if you watch the play, the action of everything that just happened is exactly the same as that run you just saw.
Why do they do that? Why would they do the same play?
because that's setting it up. So what they were doing when the first play was run, if you go back and watch the first play, they're looking at the coverage structure, which is like a quarters look. If you go to the second play, you look at the coverage structure, and it's a quarters look. If I can get to it. Sorry, having some issues. There we go. So it's like a cover 6. Now he's playing, but it's still like a quarters look up here. So they were trying to see how they were going to play certain formations, certain personnels. And what Florida is known for is when they get 2 tight ends on the field, they're known to run the ball. So this was a good way of creating
breaker.
Correct, creating play action. And as you see here, he got past that safety right there. I'm going to get into it in just a minute, but this was corrected as they went along. So as you can see here, this was the backside safety, and then he's running here, and then the crosser came and took the other DB out of it. So that's how they ended up getting so wide open. Obviously, great throw, great catch by Florida, great play by Florida. All right, you got to give them credit where credit's due on that. But look how easily he just threw that ball. Because he knew right then, okay, I've got my dude, and dropped it right in there. You know,
What a catch.
but really give him credit where credit's due. Takes his hat off. All right. So as we move on to the next play, I say it, and I don't even know I'm saying it anymore. It's crazy.
I'm telling you, run with it. It's yours. Take it from
is.
Saban.
Everyone's
So
accepting it.
so again, if you look here, we're around midfield again. They're about to take a shot. They bring this guy back here in motion. It's great. They're faking a little run here. They're getting this guy to come out so they can pull this guy down. This guy is running this crossing route again. And then this guy is going to run up here. He's actually going to do like a little out and up, which you'll see on a different angle here. And they all, if the quarterback lets this go, if the quarterback lets this go, he's got a shot. But you can see because it's a different coverage, but you can see now he doesn't feel as confident about it. But I think LSU made some adjustments based on what they were doing. And you'll see it right here. See, he runs a little bit of an out and up right here. He's running this crossing route. It's a good job by these guys not to get caught up too bad in that little out and up right there. And really you had this other safety coming back. So what the quarterback is seeing, quarterback's looking to see there's a safety back here in the back. If this safety would have played more over here, he might have tried to yank it out there and just put it out there. But because the safety was sitting on this hash, you know, now he should be sitting on that hash. Everything's moving that way. But, again, might have gotten away with a little tug right there. But, again, if it was it called?
No.
No. So did it happen?
No.
No. That's not a life lesson. You don't just because you get away with something doesn't mean it was right. But so one last time, again, look at the formation. Look at the formation. This is the exact same formation as play number 2, almost in the exact same spot of the field. And here they go trying to take another shot. Same play action, everything. And if you look, it's actually the exact same route combination that they ran. I believe it's probably, in all reality, was the exact same play call. If you would have just looked at the call sheet and said what was on the call sheet, what was called, it was probably the exact same call. And he made a good decision to chunk that into the second row. But you can see right here, here's another look at it. See how he's crossing? He's running up here, and then he's going to do that. They've got guys now. Now he's playing back. So once this guy crosses the field, there are no other receivers on this side of the field. So any of these guys on this side of the field, they start to play over. So they're coming over to help. Now he still has this area of the field, so he's got to be careful. But you can see now the way it ended up, you ended up with, instead of getting beat just by yourself, one guy, they actually got that backside corner to come over, help out, and they also got this guy covered. And then the only other guy to throw to in this progression is there's 3 guys out in the route. So it's a good job by LSU of adjusting as the game went on. So if you're looking for something that LSU did, that the coaching staff, we talk about, you know, personnel issues, getting Perkins on the field, things like that, but they're making adjustments. I think that the defense is going to be fine when it's all said and done. This is the toss touchdown. Now, everybody at LSU loves toss plays, right? So what they're going to end up doing, this is called force, and they're all running wide zone to the left. Now, these two tight ends are responsible for him and then the first defender, whether it's this guy or a safety that comes into the box. So really, these guys, they're not blocking him because they're tossing the ball. See how they're not blocking 40. And people are going to say, well, why aren't you blocking the best player on the field? Because we're running way over here.
Okay.
If this guy chases you down, which honestly 40 could probably chase him down.
Yeah, he could.
If this guy chases, what are you going to do the next time you run this play? You're going to fake the toss and run this way. So that's why if you watch here, watch the quarterback. See how the quarterback boots out? That's why nakeds and bootlegs are in the plan, is because if this guy wants to run down and make the play, then that's fine. We'll boot him out, or we'll tell the quarterback, fake it, and then you run over here. So that's why they're doing that. But if you watch this toss right here, I want you to watch this linebacker right here. Watch how he reacts to this. He just straight overran that play because it was the toss action pushed him out there, and that was just enough for him to cut back. And the thing about this is an outside zone. This is not a true toss. All these guys are trying to do to these guys is run them over here. They're not trying necessarily to push them down the field. They're trying to get these guys to laterally displace over towards the numbers. And then that allows this back to then run over here, get him to run, and then cut up. That's
Does he
basic.
get through? Okay, he does.
Yeah. So believe I'm not mistaken, he scored on this. So, but that's why as you see the toss play, now they missed this guy here, which is fine because he's going that way. But that linebacker that ran over the top allowed him to push this, stretch it, and then cut up. And that makes it, that's how that play is designed.
Right through there. Right through everyone.
But that's how that play is. That's how that play was designed to go. I mean, as much as you say now, 35, he probably should have been there to make that play. They got guys on scholarship too. I mean, I know it's a stupid thing to say. I know in the NFL we say they pay their guys too, and they pay them well. But that's what happened there. So I do want to make a point of, we talk about the tackling issues on LSU. I do want to make the point of this play, and this is a very simple play, but I want you to watch this guy tackle this guy in open space. Yeah, he's got his head down a little bit, but that is a great form tackle. Yeah. He wrapped up, he got low, he didn't use his head. That right there is a great open field tackle. So that that they've been taught.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you go to the next play, which is the play nobody really wants to see again, and I apologize to LSU fans, but they're on the 19-yard line, so 100 minus 19 is how much?
Wait, I'm sorry.
100 minus 19?
I was trying to figure out if that was Jay Ward or not.
100 minus 19?
Oh, 179. No, 169? What is it?
Wow, 100 minus 19.
What is it?
It's 81. Wow. No wonder you
did. I say 79?
You said 179.
I didn't mean to say 179. I meant to say 79.
And we expect you to change a tire.
I know, right? Yeah. Is that Jay? Is Jay Ward number 5?
That was yes, I believe so.
Okay.
So are we right on that, Stewie?
And Jay Ward number 5.
So this was the play here. As you see, this is a pass. Like, this is just a straight up pass. So what's going to happen is this is one of those things where maybe got away with a little hold right there. As you see, people, again, it wasn't called, so it didn't happen, right? But as you look, it's a decent job rushing, and he's actually trying to get back in there to close this space off. He's trying to get over here to close the space off. He's actually trying to go back around.
Who is that?
And
I can't see the number.
35. So Savion. As we get to this point right here, now, this guy right here, number one, that's a defender for the defense. That's where a lot of people don't think of. Why is this a defender? Katie,
what do you mean, the line?
Why is the sideline a defender?
I don't know.
Because he can't run out of bounds. I mean, if he runs out of bounds, play's over, right?
Right.
So use that as another defensive player.
Okay.
So when I say that, is if you watch the way he was running this ball, when you see this guy coming to the screen right here, have him continue this way. Cut him off here.
Like push him out?
They'll just cut him off here so that he has to make this cut this way. When he comes up here, he makes this cut back in here. See that?
Yeah.
So now he should have, first off, done that, but also secure the tackle at this point. wrap up on his legs, just like you saw in the last play. As these guys are running now, they got to know, is the tackle secured? So right there, no. I don't know if 23 thought it was, so he went for the ball. But right there now, you got your hands around him. Grab him, secure the tackle, get him down. And then 5 here comes and tries to hit the ball.
Again, how did he miss him, though?
Secure.
Like, coming into
13's trying to hit the ball. Secure the tackle. So that's where that comes in. They have to secure the tackle first before you.
When was this? Was this fourth quarter?
This was the first play of the third quarter,
Okay.
or no, first play of the fourth quarter.
Okay.
First play of
That's
the fourth.
when their
First play of
tackling got
the first play of the fourth
in
quarter.
this game.
But you can see he has him wrapped up. He could.
Yeah.
That's where you've got that tackle should have been made right there. That tackle should have been made by one of those guys.
Yeah.
So that's something they're going to have to work on. And again, I'm not trying to beat up on them. I think they'll get it done. You saw the reason I wanted to show the play before was proof that it's getting coached. It's not, there's a point where you just got to make the play. I think those guys were trying to make a big play at that point. Like, I'm knocking the ball out. We're getting the ball back. Just tackle the dude. There's
Well, they were
a
doing
point.
fine in their tackling earlier in the game. It was really the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Kind of halfway through the third that it got bad.
And sometimes just the mentality of a player is, I think LSU at that point was up 21, maybe 14 or 21 points. They were up by a lot. And there's a point where I think you get a little kind of loose with those fundamentals. Like, you're trying to make another big play because a big play's been being made all day. Let's just go make another one. So now I do want to point out this is again is a great job of the defensive structure, and I'll show us from the end zone. But when you run a read zone, the quarterback is going to read a guy off the edge, and then the next guy has the quarterback. So these guys are playing the run. These guys right here are all playing that run. This guy's going to play the quarterback in the way that it ended up going. But the problem is that wasn't the initial read. It's hard to see right here, but 23 started in the box here. So in all reality, when they're reading, he's really reading this guy that's on the line. And what they've done here is when that guy motioned over, they brought him down, kept him on the edge, and they let him play into this. So at that point, your read was actually blocked. So that's in the handbook of read zone, that's a handoff read. That's a handoff read right there because there's a quarterback player, and there's actually technically, there's another dude waiting, but I thought that was great. They did this a bunch during the game. So it kept 15 from pulling the ball and running. Mm-hmm. You see where I'm going with that? They were forcing the ball into the running back's hands, which is fine. I mean, this guy's a good player, but I would rather have a group of men in the down in here fighting to tackle him than have him pull it and basically be one-on-one if they didn't do it differently. So I thought that was great. So when he's sitting there, if he pulls it, you got a guy waiting here. Then you also got another guy. He's in coverage over here, but you can see where his eyes are. His eyes are still making sure that everything's good over there. And if you watch 23, watch how long it takes him after this ball's pulled. He's still sticking with him. Everybody talks about do your job.
Yeah.
That's doing your job. He didn't assume that ball was handed off until he looked and was like, that guy doesn't have the ball.
And then left him.
And then left. So that was really good job by the defense. I want to show you this because this is that's our man right there, Perk. This is what he does well. And if you watch him, he's playing in space. He's actually in a coverage mode here because he's playing over here. Once he sees this ball handed off, watch him fold back in and make that tackle. Mm-hmm. So this kid can, we talk about playing nickel and things. Yes, you want to have coverage out there, but if you want this kid to play out there in space like that, he can do it.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to point that out because I thought that was a really good play.
Yeah,
that was not much else to that play. Now there's the last 3 plays I got about the defense this is Perkins here, just making a point of this spy technique that they're using. A lot of times it's not necessarily that he's trying to go get the quarterback. As you watch him, he's actually waiting for the quarterback to do something. Once the quarterback commits to either rolling out of the pocket or running, then he'll go. So as you watch right here on the play, and again, 40's right here, and he's spying the quarterback, obviously. See how he literally just stand there. People are like, well, that's just a waste of Perkins. He's not rushing. It's not because watch what Perkins does here. See how 15 starts moving over. At this point, go get him. At this point, go tackle him, make him do something. And you see that forced Richardson right here to be like, man, I got to get rid of this ball. I'm not getting hit by this guy. And it forced a bad, not a bad throw, but it forced an underneath throw. And if you look at the spot right here, it forced him into not getting the conversion.
Yeah.
Again, this was the play. This is probably the play of the game that should have been the play of the game, but it got called incomplete. Again, watch 40 just straight creeping. He's waiting. So as long as he's standing here, he's going to stand here. The second he takes off here, watch 40 take off here.
So he's watching him the whole time.
He's watching. That's his job.
Yeah.
That's his one job is to do that. Now this is one I think might have been called differently.
He forced a fumble.
This might have been called. This is so close, but this might have been called differently in the NFL than it was in college. But that ball is knocked out while his hand was back. Mm-hmm. He has an empty hand going forward. They say it's open hand or empty hand. Anytime there's an empty hand going forward, that means it was a fumble. If you had the ball in your hand as your hand was going forward, then obviously they're going to call it an incomplete pass, even if it got knocked down like that. But to me, that is as close to. I mean, that ball, his hand is backwards right here, and that ball's out. So
they called it incomplete.
They ended up they've reviewed it, called it incomplete. Mm-hmm. But again, great play by Perkins, and obviously there's our guy Wingo again around the ball. But that's a great angle right here to see when that ball was knocked out.
Yeah.
That ball's out of his hand. His hand has not come forward yet. So again, I'm not an official.
But how did they review that and then still rule
because
it complete?
Who knows? They're very I mean,
graduate, Lloyd.
I mean, I got my assistant coach just came in here and got on players. And the last play here showed this during the teaser, but if you watch him again, this is a great way to use Perkins. People are gonna, again, I want people to understand when they're watching this. Yeah, is he rushing the quarterback? No, but technically, yes, he is. He's forcing the quarterback to do things he doesn't want to do. He might not get a sack. He might not get the quarterback hurry or hit, but he forced that, which also forced a bad throw, which forced a tip, which I believe this was the second to last play of the game, and as you can see, that caused the quarterback to get off his game a little bit. Stewie, can you kick me off for just a second? I'm gonna.
Well, that's what Harold Perkins does well, right? Like he's just a disruptor. He causes chaos. He causes havoc in the game,
really
and that's
does.
why. How many plays did he play? Do you have the number?
He was in there for 30. Now I think that 30, because some of them said run defense, but I think some of those he was on kickoff.
He made 2 tackles on kickoff.
So I believe on kickoff, that counts as a run defense play. I know that sounds crazy, but on what I'm looking at, the stats I'm looking at,
that's how they chart it.
That's how they chart it. So he was in there for 30 total plays, but he had 5 tackles, quarterback hurry, which I think that's what that play was. They actually gave him a hurry and not a should have been a fumble. But anyway, everybody that's watching that is saying that's what it is. So, all right, I'm up and rolling for the offense. I know everybody wants to talk about LSU's offense. So here we go. So Josh Williams. Is everybody on board now?
Yeah, I guess.
Is everybody on board?
Everybody believe
Okay.
Coach Caskey when he talks? Man might know what he's doing.
If y'all, I mean, I get it. I'm not employed by a football team right now, but trust me, I've done this for long enough. Well, I appreciate that. Maybe I can get you to make some calls for me.
Yeah, write a letter of rec for him.
I got a couple of numbers.
But this was this was early. This was early in the game, and Josh Williams is in that gunk of stuff right there. Like really, that doesn't look like it's good. You got a guy that's falling back here. A lot of stuff happening that probably ain't good. The good thing I like about this kid, and it kind of is hands kind of falling off the ball, but the kid takes care of the football. Like if you if you watch him right here, he's got both hands. And when I say both hands on the ball, it's not. Most people think you just put in the other hand to cover it up, but I'm going to show you this from the other angle. It's not that. It's grabbing your. If you got the ball in your right hand here, and you say keep it high and tight, you don't want to put your other hand under it or over it. You want to grab your wrist and secure that position you're already in. That's what we used to tell people, grab your wrist. It was like we called it the Bengal claw when I was with the Bengals. It's a Bengal claw. We're doing that. I mean, we had to
Tucker
come
Paul.
up with something. Put the claw on it. Because it was grab your wrist. It just doesn't sound as cool as like, hey, claw it.
Yeah. Something you can yell.
So, but if you watch Josh Williams is. And the good thing about him is he's coming into his own where he's starting to believe it himself now. And I think that's the biggest thing is if a player believes in what he can do as opposed to somebody else telling him, hey, man, you can do this as a coach. That's how you get it started. But then once he starts really believing it, and there's some guys that believe it and can't do it, but then there's those ones who are doing it but don't necessarily believe it yet, and he's really coming into his own. Showed this one earlier, but this was – so they didn't get to the back block on this guy right here. So this play is actually designed to go to the front side. You got two pullers kicking and another puller pulling in here, all right, with everybody else basically back blocking. You can see Charles Turner's back blocking. You can see Will Campbell's. All you got to do on the backside of some of these plays, if you know what's going over here, is run them up the field like a pass block. So you can see these guys are blocking back. They were doubling Big Boy here, my man 21. All right, so that's –
Space Eater.
So,
guy is huge.
but our big guy and Anthony Bradford did not come off of the double team quick enough to pick this guy up. Okay, so great. Got him wrapped up, right? Watch the leg drive by Josh Williams right here. He just doesn't stop, and he keeps his feet moving. He's pulling his feet through. That's what when you see people running the ropes or running over agile bags, and there's my man again.
That guy.
I just
I'm done with it. Yeah.
I just hit. I'm done. Done.
I am backing down. No more Tom Petty. Yeah, it's worse. It's the surrender cobra. Just can't watch this anymore.
So
is this third quarter?
this is this is in the third quarter. This is early in the third quarter. So if you see right here, there is a double team. So 50 and 75 are doubling, and he's actually supposed to come off onto this guy. The puller here, 70's kicking. 86 is pulling around for this guy. All right, and then they run off. They're blocking here, and you got an extra guy in the box. But as this happens, when you can see right here, he's like, "Oh crap!" It's like that lookout block.
Right.
But watch what big man does. Big man says, "All right, I missed a block. I'm going to try at least to get down there and help you out."
And then you love to see Malik on it. I mean, I know it may be blocking the back, but you love to see him help finish runs.
Yeah, and that to me, what they just did right there, if they can continue to – I made the point at halftime, I believe, during the watch party was, okay, it's been working. It's going to break. Hand it back off. Hand it off. And sure enough, I think that might have been the first or second play of third quarter. They handed it off, boom, broke a big run. And it happens because you start getting some juice to you. The linemen start getting juiced up. And the line's getting better. Y'all got to admit that. Line's getting better. All right, with this play, I want you to – there's certain formations. I think at some point, Katie, I talked to you about 2x2 formations and 3x1 formations. So you have – if 2x2 means you have two receivers on one side, two on the other, and the back in the backfield. That means 2x2. 3x1, you have three receivers on one side and one on the other. This could technically by some coaches be called a 5x0. You have four guys here and the back on this side. And there is absolutely nobody outside this tackle. So with that being said, you see how these two guys are both on the line?
Yep.
What does that do to this guy right here?
I don't know. Why would it do anything if they're both on the line?
He's ineligible now. He's covered up.
Why?
He's covered up. You cannot – an eligible receiver cannot be on the line on the same side that another eligible receiver is on the line. So they did it on purpose because you have to have 7 men on the line of scrimmage. So you have 5 here. To get this formation, they had to do this. And that's okay. That's meant to be. You can do that. In the NFL, you cannot run this formation in the NFL, just so you know.
So what does he do if he's ineligible?
He's blocking.
Blocking.
He's taking up space. Yeah, and if they wanted to make him eligible, you could scoot up the tight end right and put
Correct.
him back.
Or you could move him up. You can move him up. It doesn't matter. Move
So
another
if
guy.
you moved him up, then he's eligible?
If you moved him up and moved him back, he is now eligible.
Okay.
He is now ineligible. So that's so anyway. But this is unbalanced formation. They're doing it on purpose. They're doing it to screw with the defense. Who's this guy covering?
Right.
Who's this guy covering? So what they're saying is we got 4 blockers over here. Basically, we can get this done. And so what they tried to do, watch, they're going to toss the ball out here. They've got the numbers. The numbers are perfect right here. The problem is he misses his block right here. If he gets that block, that's a great play. You're getting chased here, but you got him pinned, just like I said. You got him blocked. Kayshawn's blocking. If he gets this guy blocked, takes him out, it's a big play. So I think, and the reason I wanted to show this, I know it's not but it still went for
first down.
First down. Reason I wanted to show that is that those type of things, and they ran that formation, I think 6 or 7 times. Those type of things cause the next opponent fits when they're doing game plan. So instead of working on Josh Williams on the counter play or on the inside zone or working on Kayshon Boutt's, sail routes or whatever the case is, they're now worried. They got to worry about, man, how do we align to this formation? And what are they going to do out of it? So it takes time away from the defensive coaches, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it gives them something else that they have to prepare for. It's like a little bit the same thing that when a team will run like Wildcat and just show it to them, like, all right, we do have to prepare for this because we've seen them get in this formation. So it's something that you have to put a star by. And when you talk about making it easy for LSU to, like, making it easier on the LSU offense, you just did it, created numbers and made it, like, that's an easy play.
You did, and that was easy. Now, this play right here, so here's Kayshawn right here, and Kayshawn's coming in motion. This is the play that everybody kind of was starting to talk about because they said I heard somebody say it was a shovel pass.
The man on the end of the line of scrimmage is offsides. Actually.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
The tackle in the end.
I mean, I think that's 21 right there. He'd be offsides if he was lined up down here. He'd be offsides. So Kayshawn's going to come here. What they're doing here is they're going to bring him back across over here, run him to the flat. They're running a read zone right here. Now this is not built for the quarterback really to run the ball. This is built for if the quarterback pulls this ball, he's going to come over here and he should throw it over here, or let me let this play because I'm pretty sure Kayshawn ends up actually out by the sideline. So he's got 2 guys in the flat. So you're putting a guy in a predicament. So when you run out here, he probably should have got that ball to him. Like, you don't even have to shovel it to him, but get that ball to him right now. But that's what that was built to do, was to get the ball out of the quarterback's hands and into a skill guy's hands and not put your quarterback in peril of getting blasted.
Yeah, you take a little bit off of Jaden Daniels' plate wherever, earlier in the year you see him turn those and run, which is a threat. But if you can let somebody else get tackled a couple times.
And this is a concept that's all over the place because really those can be receivers, those could be running backs, they could be whoever you want to come into the flat, and they don't have to come across the backfield like the tight end did here. They don't have to do that. You could actually have the tight end aligned here, and on the snap, this guy like runs a stick route and he runs a flat. That's how a lot of them do. And then when he reads this, then the quarterback comes over here, and depending on where these defenders are, if it's this guy that plays over here, wherever he is, then you just pick and choose which guy he didn't cover. And it's tough. And again, it's a way to keep the quarterback from having to run the ball and get hit. So
Who's 86?
That's Mason Taylor.
Mason Taylor. Not Cole Taylor's
Cole Taylor.
brother.
They're
Not
not
Cole
brothers.
Taylor's brother. All right.
Who said that?
Somebody on the stream was saying that they were brothers. I think was it used to be? I was talking, oh no, they're brothers. They're
I was
related.
joking.
I know. And
Were
he's like,
you?
no, they're not.
So we talk about that little RPO game, run pass option. Here's another run pass option. Right here, you get, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is I don't know, this is maybe Kayshawn, but he's going to run what's called a glance. A glance is like a short post. It's on his 7th step, so it's 4th outside. So if you count that with your outside foot back, it's either 7 steps or it's the 4th time his left foot hits, and then he's going to make a quick, skinny break, and that means keep it high. Don't you're not breaking in here, you're breaking more at this angle. So if you watch what he's doing here, this is actually a run play. But because there was nobody in this area of the field, he decided he knew that's where that play was going to break into, and that's why, since these guys were playing over the top and everybody else jumped up to play the run. So watch these guys, watch all these guys. You're really reading this guy. That's the guy you're reading because he's the guy that really has this area in coverage. And because he stepped up, you throw behind him. I thought that was a great job. Malik Neighbors there. So that's a great job of designing. Watch the play here from this angle. Because that guy stepped up, there is nothing in here. And why hand the ball off into a box that has that many Florida defenders in it. That's 8 defenders in the box. Why? You don't want to do that. I'm telling you that from a running back coach's perspective. That's a great job of scheming that up. That's an easy one to do. I think every college has that play in right now. But I want you to watch. So there's that foot. I want you to watch that foot. I believe on the 4th time it hits the ground. 1, 2, 3. He did it on the 3rd. But same. I mean, you see what I'm saying?
And that's why it's called a glance shot, right?
Yeah.
Because if you see this guy come up, we're both glancing. I'm throwing to you. I want
Correct.
your eyes on me.
And it's that's an easy. I mean, you're stealing almost right there with that play. Looking at the next play, this is I thought that this isn't a great play. Don't get me wrong, but watch the formation again. Formation's the same formation. All right, now you got the tight end on the ball. Okay, now you got him on the ball. So now the tight end is ineligible because he's on the ball. You got nobody up here. There are no receivers on this side. Again, you could call that a 5-by-0 formation, 4-by-0, whatever you want to call it. But what they're trying to do is, if you look over here, look at the numbers. You really got numbers all over the place. And they're running a run play. That's a run play. He looked over here. He said, man, we got numbers. Problem is, again, didn't get that block. But I love the fact that they're using these weird formations. And then I think everybody would agree Malik Neighbors is one of your better players, right? Get the ball in his hands. They're not doing anything that's spectacular, anything that you just takes forever to scheme. But what does that open up? Now all of a sudden, man, they're throwing the ball, they're tossing the ball out to this formation. We got to start putting more guys over there, which opens up the run game. So there's reasons you do that, and there's reasons that those things get put in. This is the touchdown to John Emery on the goal line. I want everybody to just keep an eye on 51. That's our guy 51 from the other night. He has him in this form of man coverage here. So what's going to end up happening is he's going to end up running in here. So they're running this. This is just called, a lot of people call this a spot concept. They call it a Frisco concept. The tight end that just ran here is running a corner. He's running in here basically to make this guy bubble over the top. So if you watch 51, here's 51 right here. He's coming in to come here. He wants him to go over the top, having to cover him because he's running to the flat. He's running a corner, which takes that guy out.
He's that bad depth to do that.
And you see how 51's got to run through the tight end. He's got to run over the top of him. And it's really lucky that that corner here just fell off of 11 that was running in here, and John Emery just makes a miss. But that's how those play. That was a great play design. They ran that about 3 other times out in the field. But you can see here, as you watch this angle of it, see how 87 is running up in here. 11 ran down in there to cause all that. He's really covering 11. He fell off because he knows that guy he ain't making it. So that was his way of helping. But I thought it's good play design, knowing that that's what they were doing on defense when it comes to down there in the red zone. The red zone's hard to game plan for at any level, because when you're down here, I'm pointing out the obvious, but the field, there's not much field anymore. So these guys can cover more ground without having to go as far.
Yeah, less field with the same amount of players out
there.
Yeah,
and that's where I know I'm being very obvious when I say that, but that's why the red zone is such an important area. When you talk about certain teams can't get things done in the red zone, they just can't get open, or they're not scheming it right, or whatever the case is. But this was the throw to Kayshawn down the field, the first one. So this was really good. If you just watch just the protection, I thought the protection for LSU for the most part was really good. There was a couple breakdowns obviously, but look at how much time he has, and look at where his eyes are the entire time. He's not worried about this. These guys don't matter to him right now. I think he's starting to get a feel for that. Mm-hmm. But he came out and just launched it. And I've got the other angle of this as you watch. But Kayshawn, get him the ball. Let him do things. That looked like Jamar Chase from the Saints game. You give him the ball and then let him break tackles. And as you're looking here, he's really running a seam route over here. Well, at this point, he realizes, well, shoot. So you see how they're breaking it off. This is really a quicker pass, and he's running a seam. So he sees that. So he just decides, you know what? I'm going to go make my way over here because I see a big opening, and see how he keeps his eye. He's got his eyes on him. He had his eyes on him, and it ended up being that's how you create big plays with those kind of guys.
That's what everybody's been waiting for.
Yeah. So going to the next one. Now this was a bad spot, I think, by the officials. But again, scramble type drill. So right now, ball should probably be gone. The way he's acting right here, ball should probably already be gone. But something happened down the field, didn't get it gone. We keep talking. Remember how we keep talking about? There's times where he would just run out here. Or watch how he steps up inside right here. This
Rowe would be so pleased.
Oh my gosh! But that's not a great throw. Don't get me wrong, but he got it into Kayshawn. Now Kayshawn caught that ball right there. That to me is not the guy spotting it. You saw him running down. But you can see here, he's just waiting, and then there's just a window right there.
Tight window throw that he showed a little bit of that against Tennessee, where he was making it. They weren't throwing it downfield, but he was throwing it into smaller windows. So he, like you said, he's starting to trust him a little bit more.
He felt it the other night, and he got to keep that feeling, whatever that feeling is. But he felt it right there, and that again.
Was this a complete pass?
Yes, it was.
Bad spot.
They just gave him a bad spot. So that was that play. I think that was good. Now. Looking at this, so my man McElroy's screwing up my telestrator here, but they're going to end up running. These guys right here are running what's called a green dog, okay, which is an add-on linebacker. So these linebackers right here one's blitzing and one's covering the back right here. So as you watch the way they're doing this guy's blitzing. This guy's really got the back in coverage, so he's really covering him. But when John sticks in there, 51 continues on. This is a great job by Jaden Daniels of knowing, hey, I've got a quick throw here, and not falling victim to seeing that coming straight at him, which I'll show you from the end zone. And that's a great play. I'd love to see him get in the end zone, but right here, so this guy's ending up dipping through there. But he held on to it, made the throw, took a little bit of a hit, but that's growth right there. That's big growth.
Why is that called a green dog?
Because you're getting the green. So dogs are blitzes. Dogs are like linebacker blitzes. That's what people call dogs. If you're dogging, that means there's a linebacker pressuring. A blitz for a lot of people means somebody other than the linebackers are coming. It means safeties blitzing, corners blitzing. That's kind of where that started. But green means you had him in coverage, but the guy who you're covering is blocking. So do you need to cover him anymore? No, because he's been consumed by something else.
Yeah.
So now you get the green light.
Okay.
You get the green light to
go.
dog. You get the green light to dog.
Okay.
So that's where green dog.
Cute.
You could call it an add-on.
I like hearing where all these came from. These names.
You can call it an add-on because he's just adding on. Once his guy is blocking, then he just adds on.
Yeah.
You could call it that. So there's a lot of different things that can be called.
Okay.
This was a free play. I love this play. This is great. Now the way I was taught it was, if this guy were to jump off sides here, and he clearly was off sides, and Charles Turner does a great job of snapping the ball, everybody would run a version of 4 verticals. If you were in 3-by-1, this guy ran this to get over to this area. He was here, he was here, he was here. Back, you just block, because we're not checking it down. Reason you want to do that is you have 5 yards. The play is not dead, but you have 5 yards. Why do you want to throw the ball anywhere down here? Go ahead and chunk it, because if you throw an interception, it doesn't count. Throw it out of bounds, doesn't count. Free play. So as you look here, he jumps off sides. Charles Turner does an amazing job. So you could tell everybody else wasn't ready for that snap because they weren't. But the second that guy gets now, why is it okay for all this? Because they know, number one, you got an extra guy. Number two is these guys are probably like shook a little bit because
we're caught.
Yeah. So John Emery does a great job of holding on to this. He actually looks over here first and then realized he probably didn't have it, and then just launches it over here. And this is a great job of just knowing the situation. And right there, you just that play, in all reality, I see some quarterbacks just catch it and spike it because I don't want to do it. No. So this guy's running deep. These two guys that were over here, they ran some route combination. I don't know what they were running, but the outside guy, he ends up running he just goes. And you can see, watch Jaden Daniels when he first takes the ball, he is looking over here, but then he decides, nope, I'm just going to launch it. Because right now, what if 23 turns around and intercepts it?
Don't matter.
Don't matter. It doesn't matter. And the fact that, again, I wouldn't even say it's a 50-50 ball. That's a 80-20 ball.
open.
But he threw it down. I mean, the kid's got an arm. So I like the way that was going on. Now, this is the play everybody's talking about this is what should be going on. This is a straight up fade ball. Basically, you call it to the corner of the end zone. But this is a true just I'm laying it up for my guy. And you see where this ball's right here, ball's up here. I know it's kind of hard to see with that. Ball's up here.
Ooh.
But you can see he laid it right there where the only person that was going to get it was our guy. If the Florida guy ended up turning around, it's incomplete. Or if he doesn't catch it, okay, great. But it gave him a chance, that 50-50 ball of saying you have 50% chance of catching it or 50% chance of them not getting it. And we get the ball. Well, but look where he put it. He put it right on top of that guy's head. Mm-hmm. And the other thing, too, that would happen, people ask all the time, well, if it's underthrown, are these receivers taught to play back into the defender? Yes. Because if this ball would have been here and not here, and he wasn't going to catch it, he should play back into this defender. Because look, this defender has no idea where the ball is.
That's what I was wondering. You never turn around, right?
That defender's going to run straight through him, and that's going to be pass interference. So that's why, yes, you are taught that. You're always taught, number one, go for the ball. But number two is if you're not going to get the ball, call something. Mm-hmm. Make them, if you know that they're out of phase, which that's what that's called. That's called out of phase. Out of phase means he doesn't know where the ball is, and
he's playing catch up.
He's playing catch up. And when you're in phase, that means you kind of you can still throw your hands up and all that. Right now, he can't do anything. That guy's done. And honestly, I think if he would have dropped that, there was if it wouldn't have been complete. I've seen refs throw flags just because they feel bad. They're like, well, shoot, I got to throw it now.
Right.
But here they're like, I'm not going to throw it because he caught it. So.
Well, we talked about that for a hot minute there. That was reviewed, and you had to, once you get possession in the end zone, it's over. Talking about that real quick, it's a good point, is he's got the ball right there. Now, it takes 2 feet and a football move. A football move is a third step. A football move is trying to break a tackle. That's what a football move is. So 1, 2. So he's got 2 feet down, 3, 4, and a butt. So he had 4 feet and a butt down. Plays in the end zone. The play is done. Once you've solidified and you've got the ball in the end zone, play's over. And that's why that's different than being out in the field. That was out in the field. They probably could have said he didn't complete the process of the catch because maybe he wasn't down yet or didn't
whatever.
Maintain control.
But once you've got control and you've established yourself in the end zone, it's over. So that's what I got for the offense. If you can kick me off for just a second here. Appreciate Citizens Bank for being the Telestrator sponsor for us. Really do appreciate that. Is there anything else on LSU? Are we getting questions in the chat or anything? I don't have my chat open.
No
so.
questions, just people with comments.
Are they
Excited comments.
Are they mad at me for
No. Rave reviews.
rave reviews? I like the rave reviews.
Always rave reviews.
So let's always rave reviews. But bottom line on the LSU game, I think that's what everybody in this town has been looking for, is the excitement level of seeing the offense, number one, but being able to. I mean, I've never been to a game in the swamp, but that looks like an intimidating place to play. If especially Will Campbell was a SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week, right?
Yep.
He's a freshman just coming off of what he came off of, and he goes into the swamp and looks like he just owned the place. There was a picture. I don't know if you guys posted it on your. I think it was you guys on the Jordy Culotta Instagram had a picture of him with like his tongue sticking out and his face painted on the sideline, and I'm like, that kid just went in there and said, "This is my town. This is my town. Y'all watch out. I'm coming in here. Y'all watch. This is my town." And I thought that was really cool that he's got that kind of swagger to him. But yeah, I think people are gonna be excited. So I I do want to move on to the Saints stuff, and I think some of this stuff is very crosses over with LSU's, because some of the things the Bengals were doing on offense, which obviously they've got, three of the starters on LSU or on the Bengals team are from LSU. When you think of Burrow, Chase, and people forget that Lyle Collins is on there too. So there's a lot of LSU ties to this. But what Burrow and Chase were doing to the Saints yesterday or on Sunday was a lot like what LSU was doing. And so going into the Saints defense, so this would be the Bengals offense. You got me up there. There we go. So this is brought to you by Citizens Bank. Appreciate them over there. They are amazing people. If you haven't met them, they tailgate like no other.
They are. They're helping us plan a little game day experience with you and Jordy coming up.
I know.
It's exciting.
So
It's news to me.
It's going to be at one of their locations, at a bank location. Yeah. Just
Bring the kegerator.
Yeah.
So one of the things everybody talks about is the Bengals O-line and how they're keeping Burrow on the ground all the time. One of the things that teams are doing, this is that double-A look where they've got the two linebackers in the A gaps. And right now, is this okay? Katie, a good question for you here. Watch the motion, and I want you to tell me if this is man coverage or zone coverage.
Okay. Man coverage.
Man coverage.
Okay. Quick.
Good. We're learning. All right. With man coverage, and you got 6 guys up here with 2 guys in the A gaps. Mm-hmm. You got man here. This guy's covering him. He's covering him. He's the deep free safety. Right now, these 6 guys are probably – those are the 6 guys that are blitzing. You know that for the most part. There's a couple things where this guy might blitz, but in all reality, these 6 are coming. So you have 6 guys. So you have 5 linemen and you have a back. So you set it up to where – and you see how Joe Mixon moves up?
Your boy.
Right here. He is my boy. Joe Mixon moves up. Reason that people move these guys up is because these pick games that happen, it's easier to pass with the center. Here's the issue. They're trying to cross key it, and I'll get to the end zone and show you what I mean by cross key it, but I'll show it to you from the sideline. It's a missed block by Joe Mixon. Bottom line. But let me show you what happened here. So when they move Joe Mixon up, I want you to keep an eye on Burrow right here. You see how Burrow's pointing at this guy? These guys now know that the line is working to him, even though Joe lines up in this gap. So they had something where they said, we're going to line you in the opposite gap and have you come across. Well, if he's going to do that, if he's going to line up over here, he's got to know the center's setting this way, and he's got to set right on the hip of that center. He kind of comes over here, and that allows a lane for Davis to run through. So that's a little double-A gamesmanship that they're playing. And as you watch here, he's actually trying to pick the center for him to come around. But what happens is because he jumped too far over and the center came over, it allowed that lane. What you'd like to see is for Mixon to hit 56, push him over onto the center, 20 to come around, and he picks up 20. But again, that's that's just some football for you. This happened early in the game too. I believe actually this was in the third quarter. So if you watch this, they're actually running what's called a trap pass. He's out. They're faking like they're running this one puller thing. The thing that beats this is this guy blitzing through here and this guy hugging, and that's exactly what they did. And as you can see, that's not good. So the Saints had a good game plan versus what they were doing on offense, which I'm going to get into in a minute, where it ended up kind of backfiring when they were trying to play man coverage on some things. But this is just, and the more I'm talking football here, so people out there listening, this is just talking ball. All right, this is an inside zone play, basic inside zone run play. So what they're doing is they're going to block. Everybody's blocking like this, and they're blocking up to here. I think he's doing that, and they're reading this guy, but he's going to push up in here, and then where he's reading this guy to this guy. So if they get him pushed over, he'll end up cutting it back, and you'll see that's what he does. He'll end up doing this, but the problem with it is Piron's got to push up in here a little bit further to allow these guys to flow over here, like we saw with LSU earlier, where that linebacker flowed over the top. Watch 56 right here. I want you to watch how he doesn't even move. So 56 is really responsible for that gap right there. 20 is really responsible for, once this guy plays here, 20 is responsible for back here, then he's filling back in the backside. They actually blocked this guy, so they're just straight blocking it. But what they're going to end up doing is when he cuts too soon, it allows him to fall back. If he would have pressed it another couple steps, had a little bit of patience, he'd be over here and running on this guy. And I'd rather run on 21 than 56. Mm-hmm. So I thought the Saints did a good job of understanding and having patience with the run game. This is another thing, just talking about football, and they're playing cover 2, so he's going to be back here. He's going to be back here. This is a corner, so it's 3rd and 10 right now. So you can see that's where they're at. This corner is playing cloud coverage, so he has anything to the flat. He has anything in this flat area right here. If nothing is in this flat area, then he's going to hang out and go try to help a little deeper. But what happens here is as you watch this play, the back's running into the flat, but it's 3rd and 10. If this guy catches the ball right here, what can he do? If this guy catches the ball right here, what can this guy do, Katie? What can he do?
If what guy catches
This guy right here, 34, catches the ball right here.
Yeah.
What can this corner do?
I mean, I don't know. Is he got to run all the way over there?
He can run up and go make the tackle because it's 3rd down.
What about the other guy coming towards him? On the
This
30,
guy?
like on the 30, yeah.
Okay, so that's why you got this guy back here. This guy, if he runs
I
up
didn't see
here.
that guy back there.
So point being is this, it's
go.
3rd and 10. This is a great way of this corner knowing I can take this throwaway that's coming here, but also rally and keep them from getting. See how Jamar Chase is doing that? Now, do you want to try to drop it in here where you've got 3 guys basically all over Chase? He threw it to the back. Now you got 2 guys rallying up to the ball. So I think that's just something with cover 2, and they're trying to play 2 guys over Chase, guy over the top and a guy underneath. That was a good job by the corner of just feathering back, not allowing the throw to Chase, which would have been a first down, but throwing it to. It's all about at this point.
Football.
Throw the underneath throw and rally. Now, again, he missed a tackle.
Yeah, he did.
So there's some issues there. Talking about just quick thing. I showed this earlier, but this is an RPO. This is what LSU can do really well too. Now I can tell you, I don't know if Daniels has the release Burrow has, but this guy's playing a little bit of outside leverage. This guy's got to play run. So the Bengals are going to run here, going to run a run. He kind of hangs just enough. He does that right there. And instead of handing the ball off, Burrow's trying to get the best Tyler Boyd going in this game. And on the snap, right there, he's got that little bit of a window, and you can see already he's throwing that ball. Somebody said he's short-stopping it right there. He's turning 2. But watch how fast he gets rid of this ball. He doesn't even step. He literally is.
Weird.
But
How does he do that?
That's what he can do.
He's an athlete.
Yeah.
But when we talk about RPOs, really, he's really reading this guy.
Yeah.
If this guy plays run, he knows he has a slant behind it. But if this guy, for any reason, decides to kind of work his way over here on the snap and not play up into the run, he should hand this ball off. But right now, he's kind of in no man's land. He could have handed it off, or he could have thrown it. And he just decided on this one to throw it. And there you go. It's a big play. And then if you see it from the end zone, just watching how quickly this guy's release is, it's unbelievable how quick this kid can release the
He
ball.
doesn't even have leverage. How does he even do that?
He's Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
I've heard.
you've heard of him. So they're going to throw the ball to Mixon. I made a big point about some of these guys. They got all these, they're loaded. The Bengals are on offense when it comes to talent, but this is just a check down. And this is where LSU can get good too. And they're kind of started to do it with Emory, is if these guys get taken away, because think about LSU in the college ranks with all the receivers they have. They compare to the Bengals and the receivers that they have at the NFL level. If you just go by level, in relative speaking, you got Emory and all those guys. You got Mixon back here, so you got Emory. You got you're gonna get Armani Goodwin back. Again, should that play be made? I would think if I'm that Saints defender right there that I'm making that play. Nope. And then basically ends up getting a first down, close to it. I think he's one short, but that's what you can do when you've got a good back that can create a mismatch once he gets the ball in space. Because I said this about Le'Veon Bell a bunch of times, is everybody thought Le'Veon Bell was this great receiver. That's all that's. Ben Roethlisberger used to dump the ball to Le'Veon Bell. Now it's punt return for a running back, kickoff return, and you make guys miss.
That tackle, though.
Because he ducked his head. Sorry, I cut off some of the end zone shots.
What are you supposed to? Go
No,
low?
you don't duck your head.
He ducked his
You
head
go
too
in.
low?
You go in, and I showed you from the sideline. He's trying to sweep the leg. Is pretty much what he's trying to do. So he's ducking his head and trying to sweep the leg instead of
Corners
wrapping
don't
up.
like to tackle, Katie. He don't want to be in that
See
spot.
how he died when he ducked and he dived.
Yeah.
Joe made that quick skip cut. All right, so my guys at the basketball team I work with here in town, we work on all those skip cuts. This is why we're doing it. All right, we're doing it to make you guys run like Joe Mixon. That's what we're doing on a basketball court. Boop.
Yep.
So that's called a skip cut or a jump cut. Going to the next play. This was a touchdown pass to Joe. So they're running here, and then Joe's like the check down on this play. This is just a check down. They're playing brackets coverage. So what they're doing is he's got anything on the inside in here. He's got anything on the outside to help deep. He's got basically anything in this area back here. So they're really trying to bracket number one, Chase. So what happens is, as you see here, he's playing Chase. He's got his eyes on Chase. He's playing outside. So when Mixon goes in, this guy should then replace. This guy should fall off. Well, that doesn't happen, and they stick with it. Now, I think what they're probably saying is we're not letting this guy.
One beat you.
We're not letting him beat us. So whether this was a bust or not, I'm just saying in just general coverage terms, because you see how he's got the inside of this guy, he's got the outside, but he's also, and then he's playing over the top. So they actually had, a shot at possibly hitting the corner up here too. But they threw it to Joe underneath, and again, make him a running back. That's what John Emery did on the flat route. It was just a flat route. The guy had it wasn't a misassignment. He just got cut off, and the linebacker did. Give the ball to your backs. Let them do their thing. This is just absolutely stupid. And y'all must have watched this kind of stuff in 2019 with Burrow. But again, you got the back walked up. You've got the double A front. They're going to miss a block here again, and they missed on the pick game. So you got a free runner. That's a sack, right?
It should be.
That's a sack, right? That's a sack right there. That should be a sack right there, because you got him. You got him that's coming in here. This should be a sack, right? Now, it should still be a sack, right? Should still be a sack, right? Nope, first down.
Joey Houdini.
That's crazy.
Now, I want you to watch this. This is actually my favorite part of this. Keep your eye on number 83 right here. 83 is going to run across here. Just keep your eye on him. He's the one that catches the ball, yes. But watch him right there. Boom. He actually gets just knocked down, blasted. And he's kind of sitting there, and he just stands straight up and is like, "Hey, there's the ball."
Well,
That's crazy.
But what Burrow did back here, because again, they came free on the pick game. See how he's picking the center, and this guy's coming around. The back's got to get that pushed off onto the center before the center gets off balance, and then he can pick up 20. And they're just having a hard time with that. So again, the fact that they let him do that, and y'all must have watched this stuff for a lot longer.
He did it against Georgia. He did it against Oklahoma. He definitely did it against Georgia with his 2 first-round picks that he was making look like a fool.
Now
did it against Clemson. It got called back.
Now moving to the next one, I want to show you. This is not a replay, obviously, because it's not in the same spot of the field. Should be a sack, right?
God, another
No. Touchdown. So as you look here, you've got these guys are rushing. This guy right here should come free right here and make the play. When he pushes him up, you've got all these guys in the interior that should wrap him up.
How
And
did they all miss him?
now watch this from the end zone. Just keep an eye. I believe it's the center. 64. He just gets dumped.
Yeah.
And it's almost like this guy, right? The nose guard is almost like if he just kept him up and shed the block instead of dumping him, he would have made the tackle. But again, that's a big deal. And then
good protection, but like a Saints player like came through from the side and just totally
Yeah.
missed him.
so 4-by-1. So you remember the formation LSU had? That's why I'm saying there's a lot of weird stuff from this game to the LSU game that's almost the same. You can't do that formation where you've got the back here and nobody here. You can't do that in the NFL. You have to have an eligible receiver on both sides of the ball. So that's the reason. But if you look here again, you're getting yourself into, you got one. So this time you only have to have the one guy on this side because you have somebody over here. So you have 1, 2, then 5. That's your 7 guys on the line of scrimmage. So everybody's eligible up
They're
here.
eligible because that guy's back.
Yeah. So
The
what?
two guys are back.
Correct, because these two guys are back. So what they're doing here is, you look, they're still trying to play 2 guys over Chase. This corner could not have played this any better. All he's running is a slant, but because they had to put everybody over here because of the 4 receivers, even though they're still keeping this guy high over the top of him, there's a big void right there, and that's why you do these things. That's why they put Chase by himself over there. Now watch the way that Chase runs his slant. That corner, I don't know how. It's hard to see right there. The corner's basically his hand on the ball right there. I don't know how you play that any better than this corner did, except for knocking the ball out. But that's what they did all day for Chase. And this is what you could do to Kayshawn. You could do the same stuff.
Absolutely.
You could put him by himself over on the other side of that formation that you just did. And it opens up. There's a huge void right over here. And as you look here, I'm going to try to pause this if we can see it. But that corner's got, you can't see it, but he's got his hand. But look at the way he's catching this ball. So young people or people that are coaching young football players, you have to attack the ball with both hands. You can't let the ball get into your body. If he let this ball come any further into his body, that guy's going to knock that ball out most likely. He goes up and attacks it, gets his hands out there, strong hands. Everything's caught with the hands. And then he makes a miss at that point. And again, this is pretty amazing what they did here. He's just running this right here. That's all he's doing. You can call this a glance. You can call this like it's really what it is, just a glance. But there's Chase right there. Look at you got an underneath guy here. You got an underneath guy here. Now, the way that they're running this basically almost looks like the same combination they ran earlier. The safety's over here because you got 3 guys over here. It's hard to cheat that much. But as you watch the way they do this, Chase runs up in here, pushes up, pushes and re-stems, and then pushes in there. If he were to push here and then do this, this guy's going to walk over. Watch how close this ends up being when he catches this ball. If he were to be over any further, but that's a heck of a play by Burrow and Chase. So,
and then is that him making an adjustment, like a little bit on the fly, like he knows I should flatten this out and instead of bending it back towards the middle? Like they both know that he's going to keep running.
So when he looked up there and there's that middle safety sitting there, he knows I better not move any further over because the window
is here
is so small. So if he were to break it in here, you're taking a chance that something's gonna happen. But yeah, that's good. And then talk about the Omaha throw. So Omaha is a stick and a quick out right here on this side. That is a 6-yard deep, roughly, route. I think he might be just a touch deeper here, but it's roughly a 6-yard deep route. This is a quick game throw. This isn't anything hard. This is first day install for pretty much every team in the NFL. And all he did was he's playing off because obviously he doesn't want to get beat. When he just breaks it off, he just throws in the ball, makes a guy miss, and he runs for another 20 yards. And Chase had I don't know what his final stat line was, like 120 yards or 110 yards, but that's what the majority of his stuff came off. So it's okay to throw it short, right? Mm-hmm. Especially to a guy like that. Now, if you had, because watch the protection. They're barely even having to protect because the ball's out so quick, and you still got a 30-yard pass reception.
That's amazing.
And then the last one here, this is the touchdown reception. So once you watch Chase at the bottom of the screen, he's really just running like a 9 stop. So a 9 is a go.
What does that mean, 9
so
stop?
9 equals a go route. So a 1 is a hitch, a 2 is a slant, a 3 is a quick out, a 4 is an end, a 5 is a bench, a 6 is a deeper end, 7 is a corner, 8 is a post, 9 is a go. So anyway, that's a route.
Sheet.
It's called a route.
I'm gonna have to write that on my hand.
It's a route. It's a
Keep it
route
there.
tree. It's a route tree. All right. That's what if you ever hear route tree, that's it, because it kind of looks like a tree when you draw it up there, but that's a route tree. But he's
Do
running.
you know those, Lloyd? Do you
Yes.
know by
Yeah.
number?
So he's selling a go route.
You will eventually learn it. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I
if
guess
you're
if you
around it a
played
lot.
it, you know
It's
it.
used so much whenever you talk, like, whenever you go to practice. Like, that's
Yeah.
a lot of what, like, whenever they call plays, you can
Well-
tell me if I'm wrong. Like, they'll mention those numbers in the place. The receiver knows what he's doing.
The Don
Yeah.
the Don Coryell method of, he just passed away, but he's like a really a famous offensive coordinator. There's a number system, like a digit system that some like 625 F post or whatever. So like you're actually telling the receivers, most of it's from weak to strong, like from X, it goes X, Y, Z, and you tell those guys 625. So you're running a
So you say,
6,
I'm
you're
running a
running a
6,
2,
yeah.
and you're running a 5. And then F post tells the F wherever format. He's the fourth receiver. They're telling him where to go and what he's running. But there's ways they actually have offenses that call it by the number, not by a name. But
Right.
I've been in both. It just depends on. Honestly, it's easy for a young guy to come in and say learn that, because all they got to do is learn those. But then you got to learn all the little. Then there's a skinny post. There's a bang post. There's a bang 8. It's like.
And that's when your terminology or your play call gets to be a paragraph.
Yeah. So, but looking at this one, so this one's he's running like he's running go. And the second that this corner takes off, and he's trying to get him to turn his hips, he's going to stop around 10. He knows now. There's some teams that have we would call it a certain thing, but we would say if you get to 10 yards or you get to 8 yards roughly, and he's still on your hip, take off. We gave him but right here, I don't know if that's how they had it called or if they actually just had it called as a 9 stop, but you see how he's got his hips turned now. He's going this way. So what he's going to do is he's going to stop, literally stop, catch the ball, and all you got to do now is make this guy miss. Now here's the honey badger right here. Now he probably should have taken just a little bit better angle. And again, this comes down to what I said earlier with LSU is that's a defender right there. Use this as a defender. Force him if you miss a tackle or you push him out to go out of bounds. It looks like what he's trying to do. You feel me? He's trying to do that. He just took the wrong angle to make him do that. And then obviously big play for the Bengals. So that's what I got on the Bengals offense, Saints defense. If you can kick me off for a second and then get a little bit into the Saints offense. See ya. So with the Saints offense, people are going to ask probably why didn't Taysom Hill show up as much? He did. They were trying, and I think the Bengals had a pretty good plan for it. They didn't play nearly as much just off coverage with the safety. They were a little tighter, so it allowed the run plays to not be as good. So as we're looking at that, first couple of things I want to show you. Everybody talks about Le'Veon Bell and how he would be patient. He'd get up here and kind of do that and then take off. Well, watch Kamara do, which you can see it from this angle and the other angle, but once Kamara gets rolling again, but see how he hangs, boom, there he goes. Not everybody can do that. And the reason I'm saying that is that's an acceleration factor that guys like Kamara, I think Mixon has it. There's guys,
Christian
McCaffrey has it. You can go in here and you can do that. Because really what you're playing with these off-the-ball guys. So on this play, let it go back in. He's really, once this guy moves back, he's really reading this guy to this guy. So it's 1 to 2 with the linebackers. If this guy plays out, he should go in. This guy plays in, he should go out. And that's how these plays right here are developed. So you can see how he's kind of run in there, and this guy stays out, so he knows he's trying to go in here. Now he's trying to keep this guy from playing. I may cut it a little short, but you can see it from here. But as he does that, that's what he's doing when he's hanging in there. So he's hanging right there, and he's trying to get him. See how he committed here? That's what he was trying to do. He's trying to get that guy to commit one way or the other. And once he committed, then he took off. That's what made Le'Veon Bell really, really good too, back in the day when he was with Pittsburgh. This was new. There is no quarterback on the field. There's no Taysom Hill on the field. That's new. All right, at least to me. So you got receiver, I think that's a receiver too. But you got running back. No
Why is there no quarterback on the field?
because Kamara's playing quarterback right
Okay.
now. So what they're trying to do now,
Where's Taysom?
somewhere over here on the sideline,
Yeah, getting water.
getting he's chilling, playing as many plays as you're playing on this play.
Yeah.
But you can see here, this is they're bringing in a new wrinkle now. But you see how the Bengals came up here and they basically brought like a saw blitz, which is Sam and Will. It's like it means they're blitzing from both, like double edged pressure. Man, really he's man. So they went to that cover zero. So that's the difference between having a quarterback on the field running Wildcat and a non-quarterback on the field running Wildcat. So that shows a little bit of a difference. Now, is that something that could be good for him? I think so. I'd put the ball in Kamara's hands as much as possible, honestly, with the amount of people they had missing yesterday. But you can see right here now they're bringing those guys off the edge, and that changes things a little bit. I showed this play earlier this morning, and it didn't. Actually, I didn't show this one, but I tried to show one earlier. But look at the push that they're getting. The line of scrimmage is the 32. All right, I'm just gonna leave that there. I don't know if that'll stay with the camera moving, but look at the amount of push they got. You got guys. There's barely any Bengals defenders, on the 30. There's one guy backside, so they're getting pushed all the way back. They're getting 2 yards pushed just right here off the bat before Kamara didn't get touched for 5 yards. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what they're doing good. And then you just got to be careful about right here trying to schnuddy a guy because he'll schnuddy you back.
Schnuddy back.
This is actually so y'all heard me talk about schnuddies here. All right, so this is a true schnuddy. When watch this guy right here.
Troutman.
Now he's going to try to kind of rub himself on the way up right here. See that? Henderson ain't having it. So
And former Saint.
yeah, he ain't having it. So anyway, that's a look there. Now this Taysom Hill play. I'm sorry, I'm one play off. This one again is big. This is a big push by. This is one from this morning that for some reason the video wasn't working. But again, the line of scrimmage is the 40. I want you to watch when the running back gets to the 40. Number one. Look at where these guys are.
Oof.
That's that right there. You don't see that often in the NFL. He doesn't get touched till probably here. He probably doesn't get touched till he's 4 yards down the field. And that's a great job by the Saints O-line, especially the fact that they rushed for however much they rushed for, but then they rushed for like 160 or something in the first half. And that to me is something with the receivers being out and all that can be an issue. Now here's Taysom Hill. So they did try this stuff. This is the same stuff they were trying. So you get quarters look here, which is good because obviously he can throw. And he threw the ball. I want to say he had at least 2 attempts, maybe 3, of throwing the ball out of these formations the other day, which keeps us alive going forward.
Is this earlier?
It's
in
2
the
of
game?
4.
This is earlier in the game. So what they're going to do, they're actually going to run student body left here, which means
Everybody.
here comes all your dudes over here. They're cracking down. They're bringing all these dudes around, and they're if right now, okay, you see how these guys are blocking? They're all blocking on the outside shoulder, and I say outside, the shoulder going towards the sideline. So they're all blocking outside or trying to. He should keep this thing stretching as long as he can before he tries to cut it back, because here's the thing: if you cut this thing back too soon,
Everybody is.
that's where all these dudes are running from. That's why you don't like to cut. That's why, as a running back coach, on any kind of perimeter play, stretch it, then cut it. A wide zone, stretch it, then cut it. Because if you cut it too soon, you're just running into a bunch of just stuff. Like you got a guy here. You got this guy is going to get, but then you got a guy running here, a guy running here. There's just a lot of riffraff. Woo, man. I don't know if y'all heard that or not, but that came from.
That was one of those annoying sneezes.
That came- that-
That's
Yeah, Jordy said he
unnecessary.
sneezed like a mouse.
That was
that was Brian.
Yeah.
That was like the Burrow.
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
right there.
it scared me a little bit.
But again, I'm not knocking Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill, but you see he's trying to get the outside. He's actually trying to get the outside. And you got another guy really coming out here to help out somewhere, but he could probably stretch that a little bit further and almost just ride the wave right there and get a little bit more going out of bounds. But again, the kid's made, or I call him a kid, he's 32 years old. The man has made a lot of good plays. Like this one right here, same thing now. But look, there's Dalton at the bottom. You still had to go cover him, but right now you're not worried about a pass going to Dalton.
Mm-mm.
But right here, you did. All this is the exact same play you've been seeing, where these guys have been coming around over here and blocking. So when this guy comes down in here, he's reading. There's a guy right there. He's reading. So when that guy played down inside, you get an extra blocker out there. He makes one guy miss, and then he's off to the races. And that's just a tough thing to defend. But they did use it. So the fact that he's really reading this guy. See how this guy played down in. So when he does that, he's not going to hand the ball to the back. He's going to pull and run. Now you got him holding him off, and you've got this receiver, I believe, coming back in here to pick off 22, and then he's just, if you pull the ball, this is the whole thing. If you pull the ball as the quarterback on a read zone, so if you don't hand it off right here and you pull and run, whoever you were reading, that's your guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's your guy, 100%. So at this point right now, he pulls. There is no body for that guy. So again, you see him make him miss. So I think that was a good design. They're doing some good things. One of the things that's concerning, I only pulled one of them, but there was about 3 or 4 that I saw that looked like miscommunication with the offensive line. They're trying to throw a screen to the tight end here, and they're faking here, and they're faking a run. So they should be all faking to their left. Now watch this guard right here. He steps the wrong way, and now you got a 350-pound monster on.
Oops.
He should just put his hand out for 68, because he's, then help out. He steps too far down, and it knocks the center off, and then 68 is on your running back, which I always tell running backs, your firemen back there, you put out fires. And I think this kid did a heck of a job of trying to put it out, but again, it just caused a bad play.
Right.
They had a couple of those in protection as well, but it wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad in the run game. They had one where they just totally let Sam Hubbard run flat up the field. I'm sorry, but if you're going to block anybody on the play side of a play and Sam Hubbard's over there, probably block him. Yeah. He's a pretty good player. Him and Hendrickson, I would probably block those guys. All right. Let me ask you this, Katie. Mm-hmm. All right. This is going to be a version of two-man, okay? So they're out here. Everybody else is playing man coverage down here. Why is this good for a quarterback to scramble?
Wait, why is what good? The two-man.
Okay, I'll let it kind of. Why is it good? Why would the quarterback want to scramble versus this look? Because they're doubling here for some reason, but it's really two-man. It's a version of it. So he's man. Really, they're doubled on him, and he's back here.
Well,
so
everyone's covered, right?
Everyone's covered, but where are these guys looking?
They're looking at the men
They're looking at correct.
Yeah.
They're looking at the men they're covering. So if you see this, there's nobody other than the front. Now this got called holding, but
where was the holding?
It was back with the line. But if you ever hear commentators or anybody say, that's a great scramble versus two-man. Well, that's what they're saying, because you got 2 deep safeties and everybody else playing a version of man. They were doubling to one guy, but really it's still two-man. And it's these guys' jobs up front not to allow the quarterback to run. Now, do you play two-man versus Lamar Jackson?
No.
Probably not.
No.
Do you play it against Kyler Murray? Probably not. Andy Dalton?
Give it a shot.
Give it a shot. You take your chances, all right? So I believe the hold is right here.
Andrew Speed had himself a hell of a day.
Yeah.
Right there. You can see it.
Yeah.
You can see the hold. So, but as you look here, there's nobody in the picture.
Yeah.
Literally nobody in the picture. So that's why versus two-man, that can be an issue on defense. I thought this was a scheme issue by the Saints. You got Trey Hendrickson right here. Y'all remember Trey Hendrickson from the Saints, right?
Yeah.
I mean, y'all.
Put up a
good,
Put up got a couple of sacks for the Saints, I'd say.
good player, right?
Let him walk in free agency.
Let's see if you are the Saints, do you want your left tackle blocking him or your tight end? Who do you want blocking him?
Both, preferably.
Yeah,
You have to leave
could.
somebody in, but left tackle if I can pick.
How about
Oh.
how about you just stick your running back and your tight end over here on him, and that's a
Let
little
him
tough.
dog walk you.
That's a little tough. Now, one thing I would say about this protection is it's basically it's a full. Now he's not going to pass this guy, but it's a full slide. All right, this guy has the known rusher. The tight end does. The back has what's called the C gap to the D gap, which is the outside gap. So anything that were to find its way in the C gap, the back is then working that. He should work the outside hip of the tackle, work out. Now, what I always told my backs, especially when we played Khalil Mack and stuff, and when I was in Detroit and he was in Chicago, is if you knew the tight end was on Khalil Mack, this guy is your friend, right? You're supposed to be. So go
help him out.
Go help your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Go help your friends. All right, because your friends need help, and so he should come over here and then help out if he has nothing there. So right now you can see he's inside out. Tight end should also know right now that the back is running C gap to D gap. So if you're going to set on him, maybe overset him just a touch and because your help's inside. So that's what happened on that one. All right, big TD missed early in the game. I believe this was the second play of the game. All right, everybody's going to blame my man Dalton for this. Now, I want you to watch this. There's a thing that I'm using red by just ironically. I don't mean to do it, but there's a thing we call the red line. If you go to any practice field, it's usually about 5 to 6 yards off of the sideline. A lot of people go this directly in between the numbers and the sideline. You want your receiver to work the red line because right now, if you're running a go route and you're down this red line, the quarterback can then throw it and still have room for you to fade outside a little bit. You're not going to run out of bounds. Watch this receiver. I can't tell you who that is, the receiver, because they had a bunch of dudes that I've never heard of playing, but he runs up here and then he ends up going almost down the numbers. And you can see, watch where Andy throws this ball and where it lands. Andy's thinking again, red lines right here. He's thinking that he's actually going to be a little bit further out so that he can fade him over into this area if need be. And that's why you see where that ball landed?
Mm-hmm.
The ball landed almost on that red line. So Andy's taught on those plays. And again, I'm not in their game plan. Maybe they had something different. But if you watch this receiver down at the bottom, look where he ends up. He ends up out. He might be a little wide, but he's out on the red line. So that I think this guy right here
So
probably
it's his fault
should have.
for not getting there.
It's just a miscommunication between the two. But I'd say
Yeah,
if you asked
time.
if you asked Andy why did the ball land over here, and everybody's on Andy about it, bad throw. I mean, I don't know if he has time. Let me see when he actually lets the ball go. See, I think he thinks he's still working out right here at this point.
Could have gone if he could have gone to the right of him. He would.
You're okay to beat him. You're okay as a receiver to beat him inside if he turns like this. But once you do, it's called restacking. You get in here and you restack on your line. You get on now you're on top of right here. Restack and get back to where you're supposed to be. And he doesn't do that. He continues down that. That's why I think as people were looking at that play, they're probably like, man, Andy Dalton, y'all can have him back in Cincinnati, this and that. But I think that's what happened there. This was a great job by Andy of just getting, really this guy right here should be looking quicker because look at you got the entire team almost up here, and again, this is man coverage, you can see, but everybody's up. So right now man coverage is probably these 6 guys blitzing. Well, they pick again. They do the same pick, and he gets the ball out. And look where he puts his ball. Because Andy was one of the guys that I remember being around that he was good at ball placement. He could place it where he needed to. And that's one guy's going to get that ball right there. And I thought that was a good job. But if you watch this from the back end, see the exact same thing that happened to the Bengals. And see, he's picking, and then he's coming around, and Kamara does not get up there quick enough to pass it off. So, but I thought that was a great deal there. Now this is a different look. We call this a sizzle B. I don't know why, but these guys are in the B gaps instead of being the A gaps, and these guys is sizzle B. So what these guys are doing is both of these guys are going to rush, whichever way the center turns. So if the center turns and goes this way, this guy's going to rush and drop. And that there, you're thinking you're going to get one of these guys clean or on the back. So as you watch this right here, and really this guy's rushing to cover the back in all reality. Let it play. But you see how the center turned this way, this guy dropped out, and the nose dropped out. So if you see it from the end zone, it's a pretty cool blitz once it's all said and done. Motion, man coverage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see how everybody turned this way? So even the nose right there dropped out. And this guy really is on the back. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to create matchups. But Andy gets that ball out, and that's a great job of just knowing your timing, number one. Knowing he had it picked up. He had it picked up.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just going to throw this out there. Look at Kamara right there.
Hey.
Or Ingram. Is that Ingram? Sorry, that's Ingram. But he knows too. He knows right now you're not fully picked up when you got a guy in a recliner right there.
It's horizontal.
But again, that was a good job getting the ball out. Big conversion right there. And then the last play I've got for Caskey's clicker for today is this seam throw. Showed this morning, but I want to talk about this guy right here. This is Hilton. He's playing man coverage on the receiver here, and watch how if it'll get going. Come on, you can do it. See how he kind of attacks him to the outside right here, and then he got turned thinking he was maybe going to keep going that way.
Yeah.
And
why does he spin around?
Because he thought he was playing outside leverage. So the reason he's playing outside leverage again is
I got friends inside.
you have guys. Yeah. So these two guys. So he's covering him. This guy's a hole player. So this guy's kind of helping out anywhere in here. This guy's inside. So why would you play inside leverage with no help out here when all your help is really here down low and here deep? So what they're saying is, so then when he goes outside, he got turned and Andy puts that ball right in this window right here. And that's a great job. I mean, it's a great job by the receiver to get 21's hips turned, because if 21 wouldn't have turned his hips,
there's nothing there.
I don't think he makes that throw. And
Did he purposely have him turn?
he was trying to, yes.
He was?
I don't know if that's what they expected to happen, but he
Yeah.
was trying to get him to widen, put it that way. He was trying to get him to widen. He wasn't necessarily trying to get him to flip his hips, but he was trying to get him to widen a little bit. So if you watch 55 really, and see 57's kind of dropping back. So 55 and 57 are kind of playing Kamara here. You see that?
Yeah.
But really, if anybody would have come across, you still have help inside.
Looks like he's just walking down the field.
Yeah.
He knows he
He
ain't
knows I'm not getting it.
I'm just
People are looking at me.
there's certain
He is.
Break plays.
there's certain plays where there really are certain plays where it's like, dude, you're not getting the ball.
Right.
Like I mean, you always say, guys, be ready for the ball. Don't get me wrong, but there are some plays where you're like,
He's a decoy in
you
that.
probably ain't, well, you probably ain't get. We're using you for protection. If you get out, great, but probably not getting the ball. So that's what I got for Caskey's clicker. Did we get anything in the chat?
We have a couple that I see right now, and it was from Hunter Hall, big Alabama fan. When running a screenplay, what do teams ever run it to the short side of the field?
Say that again.
When running a screenplay, why do teams never run it to the short side of the field?
Oh, they do.
They do sometimes.
They do, and honestly, it's better to run it to the short side of the field if you're running a tailback screen, because who's getting out to block for him? Lineman, right?
Right.
So in the NFL, there's a thing, and I'll go to the. Can you kick me back on for a second?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So there's a thing here called we call it the sidewalk, right? And it's the numbers. So that's not a very good job of drawing. I'm not an artist. I'm a football coach. But if you were to run a screen, you would want the back to turn up the numbers. So you always tell them the inside edge of the numbers, which is this is the inside. So the inside edge or the top of the numbers, you want them to catch and turn here, but you can work to the outside edge of the numbers, because these guys, most of the time, these guys are out, but most of the time these guys are setting, and this guard's coming out here and kicking, and he knows that if he gets to the outside edge of the numbers and there's nobody there, he can turn up. The center, the next guy out, depending on the center of the guard, gets here and he turns up on the inside edge of the numbers. And then this last guy is usually, we called him a rat killer, but he would turn around and pick up anything without, legally pick them up. But he was trying to shield off any of these guys that were redirecting and running. But if you run a screen to the wide side of the field, so if you wanted to run it here, instead of getting to the numbers, this is the alley. So the alley would be right in between the hash and the numbers. So we run up here. There is more room if you've got a guy like Kamara, and you're asking why would you not run it to the boundary? Sometimes if you got a guy like Kamara that can get out here, sometimes it becomes punt return and kickoff return for him at that point, and he gets a lot more room. But I liked running them to the boundary because I thought you got your linemen on people. So to answer your question, yes. Now, if you go look at college film, the numbers are in much different places. The hashes are wider. The numbers are wider. It becomes a little bit of a different – you have much less room to the boundary side because the hashes in college are like here. So move yourself over to the center. The center would be about where this guy is. So you're losing 5 yards roughly. And in high school, they're even wider, and that's why you see it. But I think sometimes in college you don't see it because it is a lack of room. But in the NFL, everything's in the middle of the field. I mean, the hashes are as wide as the goalposts. I don't know if y'all knew that or not. But
I did.
the hashes are exactly as wide as the goalposts in the NFL. So
That's so cool.
so if you know you're kicking a ball,
bust that out at the next party.
Absolutely.
A little cocktail talk.
what else we got from my man over there? You said you had a couple. That was it.
I just had a lot of I love this.
So
yeah, lots of I love this.
well, you got any questions, Katie?
No, I mean
Allie
feel
good?
very full of football in my brain right now.
So
I love it. I'm learning so much.
I do appreciate the people that are commenting on that because I put it out there on Twitter last night, and really, if y'all could, throughout the week, if there's something comes up in a game, anybody that watches this show that comes up in a game, and you want to put it out to me on Twitter, please do that.
That's a great idea.
Snag it.
I'll be glad to try to answer those questions throughout the week as we come back in here, and then I'm coming back on Friday. Today's Tuesday, right?
Today's Tuesday.
Today is Tuesday. I'm coming back on Friday. I'll have an Ole Miss, a little bit of an Ole Miss preview. I will say it's the cool thing about Lane Kiffin is he knows how to adapt to his players. So the stuff you saw him run when he was at Tennessee as a head coach or USC as a head coach or wherever it is, he's got the same concepts, but he's mixing things into the guys he has.
They do well.
Yeah, he's not trying to force scheme on players.
Right?
He's putting players with the scheme.
Right.
Or he's putting the scheme. He's basing his scheme around what players he has, not trying to force players into doing something maybe they're not good at.
And that's when you get in trouble.
Which LSU did that on Saturday. Bengals did that against the Saints on Sunday, and that's where I think you got too many good players on the LSU offense to not get them the ball. And if you keep getting these guys the ball, they're gonna break a tackle. They're gonna create plays. That's why I showed y'all that one play of Malik Neighbors. It was like a 6-yard gain out of that crazy unbalanced thing, but they were trying to get the ball to him. So I thought that was cool.
Mm-hmm. That's how you win games.
That is. And got the ball to Emery. And John Emery in the flat. Let him break tackles.
Makes one guy miss, scores a touchdown.
Easy.
That's what he does well.
They threw another one to him later in the game. I believe it was a third down conversion. Same exact thing. So anyway, well, I appreciate everybody joining us. Thanks to Citizens Bank for sponsoring the Telestrator. Thank you to Lloyd and Katie for hanging out. Appreciate you. I expected a little bit more talking from you.
You did? Well,
Yes.
it's a lot to take in.
That's why I need you to talk.
Watch everything you're trying to show me.
You're speaking.
And
You're
figure that
speaking
out.
for the people out there that are probably thinking the same thing you're thinking.
Yeah.
I may be speaking a language that doesn't make any sense. So just if it sounds like gibberish to you, it might be gibberish to me too. I don't know.
No, sometimes
But
you are. But
just talking ball, it's kind of talk ball. So,
I didn't play this, so I don't have the experience. So this is a lot of things I've never heard before, like the 1 through 9 thing.
Did we get any of the Dapper Dan stuff today? Because sweet.
What's that?
I don't know, something about my hair.
Oh yeah.
You never seen Oh Brother Where Art Thou?
Yeah.
I'm a Dapper Dan man. I don't want
Oh,
fuck.
yeah.
God damn
That's
it.
what people are
Well,
telling
we need to find Dapper Dan. There's got to be some out there somewhere.
It takes about 2 weeks.
So, all right. Well, I appreciate you guys coming. Thanks again, Citizens Bank, for everything they do for us with the Telestrator, and we will see you next time.